Hello there, everybody. Don Juan here, and it sure has been a lot longer than I thought it was going to be between my last upload and this one. Uh, I don't know. I kind of just lost track of things. Was really busy with family stuff, work, blah blah, etc. Excuses, excuses. Anyways, I want to do something new today, and I want to give a first look slash intro review kind of deal into a series that is very near and dear to my heart, called Muyo and Roji's Bureau of Supernatural Investigations. So I'm gonna give a bit of background with me in the series so you know why I care about it so much. So I first found out about this manga series when I was volunteering for my local library. This was during my second year in high school, and it was a really easy position because other than certain days when the elementary, middle, or other high schools would come in to do like a field trip to get the kids to pick out a book to do like a book report or get a book so you can do some kind of project on it. It was pretty easy, pretty chill. Very like few people coming in, like just trickling in throughout the day, and yeah, it was a super easy position. So what this gave me, other than the hours to put towards my college applications, was plenty of time to like read over the vast collection of books and manga that they had at the library. It was a new library too, back when I was volunteering for it in high school, so it was like crazy to me as the only local library that I had ever been to was one at a high school near to my house. So it wasn't like it was a local library, but it was a local library that operated outside of a high school. So it was part of a high school, and it wasn't a local library that was its own entity. Yeah, so this was my first experience with that sort of library, and so I loved it. I'm a really big book nerd, and when I found out that they had manga and graphic novels as well, I just like completely lost it. So one day I was stalking the manga section, and yeah, the library carried your standard Bleach, Naruto, One Piece, Dragon Ball, etc. And at this point, the only other manga series that I had ever sat down and actually Googled online and read was Bleach, because it was one of the big three that I was super into. And since it only aired at Adult Swim, I didn't always get to watch it. But I wanted to check out something new. I wanted to check out something that was lesser known that I had never heard about. And so I was looking at the covers of the manga as I was stalking them, and the art style just for Muyo and Roji just really drew me in. So I started flipping through the pages, and I noticed that it was heavily horror inspired. And at first I was like, "Oh man, it's gonna be a horror manga, blah blah. It's gonna be spooky. Let's do it." But it turned out to just be a very good and very unique shonen manga with horror and supernatural inspirations. My library only had the first 5 volumes, and so after I devoured those, I turned to the internet and went through the rest. I was unable to find the last 4 volumes, which put the series on hiatus for me for about 3 years. That is until I got into college, remembered it one day because I actually can't remember why I remembered about Muyo and Roji one day. But anyways, I for some reason I remembered about it one day during my first year in high school, so I hopped onto Amazon, looked up which were the last volumes that I needed to read that I couldn't find online for whatever reason, and I purchased them. And thus, Muyo and Roji became the very first manga series that I have ever bought. Since then, I have bought a few other manga and some light novels because I'm a big weeb, but like this one just holds a very important place into my heart because not only was it the first shonen manga slash anime that I consumed that wasn't like mainstream and really popular, but it also opened me up to the world of reading manga online. And after this, I read Bleach online to keep up with Japan. Same thing with Naruto. I found the Pokemon Adventures manga existed, and I love the Pokemon Adventures manga. So Muyo and Roji has a lot to do in terms of opening up the world of reading manga online for me, and just really getting interested in finding new manga to read. And as of right now, I probably have like 15 or more series that I'm following on a weekly, bi-weekly, or even a monthly basis. So a lot of that I have Muyo and Roji. Like I owe it to this series for really opening me up to the world of manga and everything else that I really like today. So back when I finished reading it 4 years ago, I never thought that it would get animated. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like it a lot. I think it's a very good series. The art style is unique. I mentioned that earlier, and yeah, it is a shonen, but it's a very entertaining shonen. And I think that the premise, the art style, and the creativeness of the amazing Yoshiyuki Nishi, just I'll get to it. I'm getting carried away. But anyways, I found out earlier this year that I was getting an anime adaptation, and I just like lost it. At the same time, I was very like cautious about it because I was like, oh man, what if they ruin it? And so I've been watching it for the past 6 weeks and I have some thoughts on it, so I decided to make a video about it. As the name implies, this show follows the adventures of Muyo and Roji, exorcists that get called in to deal with ghosts and other hauntings. Muyo and Roji follows the standard shonen tropes, but like I mentioned earlier, the charm just comes in the creativeness of the author. He draws his inspiration from ghosts and the supernatural, and this series has a bunch of references to horror movies and other mythologies, such as The Exorcist, Poltergeist, and The Shining. And it doesn't just stop there. This author isn't just a man who, oh hey, I watched The Exorcist and there was a spooky ghost in it. I'm gonna reference it, blah blah. No, he makes up his own things as well, and they're just super fun and interesting to watch and see how the events of the different battles play out. And that's another interesting thing about this one is that it's not like your standard shonen battle manga where the protagonist is like, yeah, I'm super buff and I'm like, beat you up and shit. No, like Muyo and Roji, they summon envoys from the underworld to fight these ghosts and to judge them and either send them to heaven or send them to hell, depending on their crimes. Anyways, enough rambling about the premise and what the show is about. You'll get that by like the first episode, or even by just looking at the cover. I mean, the cover poster is really cool, but you would get a lot more from watching the first episode. Anyways, at this point, when I'm recording this video, and hopefully I'm able to get it out before the 7th episode comes out, there's only 12 episodes for this show that have been announced. So we're like at the halfway point. So it seems like a pretty good time to do like a should you watch kind of deal. So as of right now, the anime has 6 episodes out, and it is on volume 3 of the manga. They have already skipped various filler episodes that did not serve to advance the plot, but rather to build up Muyo and Roji's characters and the way that they approach magic law. Still, it's doing a pretty good job of making their characters even without these chapters. One gripe that I've had with the anime, it's a kind of minor gripe, a kind of like cringy gripe, you can say, is that it's pretty cheesy. So they have like a pretty standard like stock animation for whenever he sentences the ghost or whatever it is that they're exercising for whatever crimes that it's committed, and it gets pretty old. So I hope that they either ditch it or change it up in the remaining episodes. Also, like to enhance the cheesiness of the show, they're doing like the super cheesy like shonen mid-episode transition card. I don't know if cheesy is the right word, but what it does is it breaks the immersion of the viewer when you're watching the episode. And it really sucks because I highly doubt that they're going to remove it. But it's like very similar to the whole Full Metal Alchemist card that that show does, and I don't like it in Full Metal. I don't like it now, so that's like a complaint. Oh, another really like super cheesy and like really like, oh my god, I can't believe they did that moment. Happened in like episode 1. So in the manga, their characters have a language that they use to talk to the envoys. It's usually referred to as the language of the below, and it's all spooky and shit. And it's the ones that the exorcists use to talk to whatever it is that they're summoning. And I always thought whenever like I read the manga that they would just make it like unintelligible jargon, that they would just kind of just like put like some weird mumbling or whatever, like a language in reverse, and just make it super low to do like the language. But they didn't. It's like if they had the voice actor literally just read off of what it is in the manga. So if you watch it, it's like ARO just over and over again with like different, like sometimes there's like a lot of A, so it's like ARO, or sometimes it's like ARU or whatever. And so it's super cringy. It's just like ARO, and I was like, oh my god, I can't believe they actually did that. Like, But anyways, other than these cases of cheesiness, I'm enjoying the anime pretty well. They waste no time in establishing the main villain of the show, since they show him in the very first episode. But like they don't explain who he is. They kind of just show him, and he's like very ominous to kind of get the audience intrigued into who he is. And then in the third episode, he's actually revealed, and they talk about the relationship that he has with the main characters, and you find out what exactly the goal of Muyo and his friends is to do. So then episodes 3 through 5 finish off that first interaction with Enshu, and episode 6 takes a break from the main plot for a filler episode that is pretty good, and I like the way that they did it, because it's a nice story, and it further serves to establish both the characters of Muyo and Roji, as well as provide some fan service. And I think that it's a pretty nice touch that they included this episode. If anything, from the early chapter filler episodes that they were going to add, I'm glad that it was this one that they did, because it is the best of the bunch. After this, the manga gets pretty serious, and it's like case after case of plot-driven interactions. It's pretty funny because I was watching the episodes and writing the script. I got carried away and reread the entire manga. So like that was really fun, but like I could have had this video out a few days earlier if I hadn't done that. Anyways, as of episode 6, the positives far outweigh the negatives, and I really hope that the anime does well so they can be animated to completion. As of right now, since there's only 6 episodes remaining, based on where we are, the preview for this week's episode, and the poster for the show, I have a very good idea of where they're going to end season 1. And like I said, I really hope that this show does well so they can continue animating it. And if it were to get animated for completion, that would be like great. And I would love that. And I might become the first anime series that I buy on Blu-ray. Probably not, but like it might be. So as you can see, I'm extremely biased towards this series, so take that into consideration as you hear my recommendation. Muyo and Roji's Bureau of Supernatural Investigations gets a check it out for the anime, seeing as if I have no clue if it will be animated to completion. The animation is nice and clean. The source's material has been finished for years, so we know that it will end well as long as the studio decides to follow the manga and doesn't try to be creative with their own thing. The manga, on the other hand, gets a certified must-read. If you are a fan of shonen and the supernatural, it's a very fun series. You will not be disappointed, and you can find the entire thing online now with a pretty decent quality for free if you know where to look. So I recommend doing that, although if you want to support the author and buy the manga physically, go ahead and do that too. Anyways, thank you all for watching. This is the very first time I do a video of this kind, so let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you think that I rambled too much about my love for the show without talking so much about the episodes? I really didn't want to give any spoilers, so I didn't go into episode specifics. So yeah, let me know what you think of the review, and let me know what you think of the series if you decide to check it out. Thank you all for watching, and this has been Don Juan, signing out.